Hi Stitchy friends, I'm Michelle and this is my channel, Penny's Daughter Shares, where I talk primarily about cross stitch, but I do talk some quilting and sewing and some other crafty type things. Generally those are for using to fully finish my cross stitch projects. If you're new here today, thanks for stopping by and checking me out. If you like what you see, please subscribe down below. If you are a returning subscriber, thanks so much for coming back. I'm really happy to have you with me. And I hope you enjoy what you see today too. Now, normally I would start this part where I would tell a story or give sort of a life update or both. But I'm going to get right into my cross stitching, my whips and finishes. And then I will share the sort of life update / story portion a little later. So we're going to start first with, I have a finish for the week. I finished You Are My Love Story from the Trilogy. Excuse me. And this is actually, as far as I know, sold as a kit only, not just a chart that has the charms needed in the finish and the floss and the linen. As far as I know, this is not out of print, but I've heard from several people this week who are having a hard time locating it. And I can tell you that I purchased mine probably about a year ago at my local needle workshop, my LNS, which is Stitches and Things in Fenton, Michigan. I will link them down below so you can find their website. And my best suggestion would be to give them a call, because I can't remember for sure if I picked this up while I was in the shop or if it was something that I had found like online or something, and I asked for it and she had to order it for me. So, but they're really great about doing that for you if it's something you really wanted. So that's my helpful hint on finding this if you're looking for it. So now my finish. And here it is. This is 32 count linen, no name or anything. It looks like it's just kind of a natural color linen. Like I said, it was part of the kit. All the called for flosses on this, except I made one change, and the names called for a slightly different brown than this one here in the word story. And I stitched our names in, but the browns were not different enough. And so it all just kind of blended together and it didn't look right to me. So I tore it out and you'll hear more about tearing out here soon, or ripping out, however you want to. Everyone uses kind of different phrases for it, right? But yeah, so I tore it out and I used Weeks Dye Works Grapevine to stitch our names. Excuse me. And I'm really happy with that. It's a darker brown, but there's a lot of variegation in it. And so it's not too dark, but it's enough to separate itself from the word story. Then I added the year right here, and I stitched that using 2 threads of floss over 1 linen thread. So I stitched it 2 over 1. And I'm really happy with how that turned out. I'll kind of hold it up a little closer. Maybe you can see it. I think the camera's focusing. I think that looks so cute. And so not only is that representation of when I finished this, which is what I normally do, but also because I did my whip parade, that's what made me want to get this back out. And our wedding anniversary was this past weekend. And so because I was in the mood to stitch it, I definitely I put the year on there as a representation of what year I stitched it for. So also I added this date here in Roman numerals is our wedding date. And a little story about that for you. I figured that out a few years ago, and I think I was trying to order something with, or I saw something on Etsy maybe, where people were using their, the Roman numerals of their wedding date. And it was honestly probably geared more towards like a wedding gift and not necessarily a celebration of your anniversary or having been married for already a number of years. But I looked ours up and figured it out, and it made me love the format even more because, as I said, my name's Michelle, and growing up, before I was married, my last name started with M, and actually my middle name starts with M. So growing up, I was MMM, were my initials. And when you look at that, it's IXVMM. And when you just kind of look at that, it looks like it says, I love Michelle M. And Jeff and I both think that's really cool. It obviously wasn't planned. I mean, I wasn't analyzing our wedding date for those kinds of things, but I just think it looks so cool. And because I was stitching this right and finishing it around our anniversary, I thought adding that, excuse me, adding that in on the heart was a really cool touch. And I'm really happy with how that came out. Now, my plan is that this is turning into Jeff's anniversary gift from me, and I was trying to think really hard for a finish idea that would keep it sort of masculine. I mean, this is pretty girly kind of stitch. I mean, it can kind of go both ways, right? And this is the kind of thing that Jeff would love to put on his desk in his office. So, but I really needed some more like heavier masculine kind of thing. Well, I was racking my brain, and then I walked through my house. I was just moving around, and I found a piece in my collection that I actually haven't had anything on, but I guess I leave it out for inspiration. Anyway, it's perfect. And here it is. So can you see? It's like this pedestal, and it has this clip, and look at an arrow at the top, like an arrow going through a heart. Oh my gosh. And it's very like, I don't know, just, I think it looks masculine. And then I can put this on here. I don't know, you can't see really great, but that is my plan. So what I plan to do to fully finish the stitching part is I'm going to stitch a border around the outside of this in order to attach it to just a piece of felt to back it up, because it's going to be on here, and this is, a thick piece of wood. I don't think I need a lot of support within the piece itself to keep it, flat and straight. So I'm pretty sure I can and if I get that part done and it's not laying very flat, then I'll add something to the back of it, like a piece of sticky board or something. But yeah, I'm gonna put a border around the outside, stitch it to a piece of felt so it has a backing on it, and then I'm going to trim off the edges of the fabric, and I'm going to fringe it, because I think this kind of fabric will look, because of the count and everything, you're not going to be able to see very good on the video, but anyway, some fringe around the outside. I think it'll set nice on that board. And then I just have like some basic kind of twine that I'm going to use to make some sort of a hanger to clip into the clip. And then I have a couple other embellishments that I'm going to figure out how to kind of add to it just a little bit more. Not a lot, not ribbons and bows and foofy because it's for Jeff in his office, but that's my plan. And actually my plan was to fully finish this yesterday, I think. And I got involved with something else, which I'll show you in my whips. But so that is my finish this week. And it takes my current whip count down from, I believe it was 30 in my whip parade. I now am down to 29. Okay, so that was one thing that I worked on this past week. And then I have 2 whips. So I didn't work on a large variety of things, but I feel like I did a lot. So anyway, here is the first of my whips that I worked on this week. This is Raise a Glass of Cheer from Blackbird Designs. I am stitching this with Michelle and with LuAnn. Yes, here's my progress. So I'm not sure what I showed you last time, where I was exactly, but maybe I had this basket down here. And so I did all this kind of flowers work and then a few other little stitches. Now, I think they're eyelet stitches that I need to put like little buds on there. I am stitching this using the called for colors, except for one substitution, excuse me, which is on the base of the flowers here and these little leaves. I am using Weeks Dye Works Oscar. It called for Gentle Arts Old Hickory in those places. But then on the picture, on the cover, those show up green, quite green, versus the stem looking pretty brown. My Old Hickory looked way too brown. And so I'm really happy with the Oscar. I think it blends in, looks really good with this stuff. I am stitching this on 40 count Brea from Needle and Flax. And for anyone that's listened to me talk about this lately, in the last few episodes, I love this color so much and I love this linen. Yeah, so that's why you can see I have some muslin sewn to this so I could fit it in my Q-snap and be able to stitch it still. So I think I shared all the details. And this is going to be one of the things that's kind of on my plans for at least the next week. Oh, and this is on 40 count, so I'm using one floss thread over 2 linen threads. So yeah, I think this is really, really pretty. I love it. And it's Blackbird. I mean, how can you not love it, right? My only other whip or thing that I've been working on this week is, Winter Rose Manor from Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And both of these projects, like I said, I've been currently working on them. So I have them in the Q-snaps because I've been currently working on them. If I put something away for a week or more, if I'm, not intending on stitching on it for at least a week, I will take it out of the Q-snap. I won't leave it in there. So anyway, here is my progress. And I don't know, my lighting is, I'll tip it that way. I hope you can see it pretty good. And if I bring it a little closer so you can see what I've been doing. Okay, so I am using the called for Brenda's Brew from R&R for my fabric. I am stitching this on 40 count. I think the chart calls for 36 count, or the model. So Anyway, 40 count Brenda's Brew from R&R. I'm stitching with 1 thread of floss over 2 linen threads. I'm using the called for colors everywhere except for the white. And I am really, really happy with how this is looking now. So if you remember when I showed this to you last time, I had this section here done and the door and a few other bits and pieces here, but this section of white I had done, and then this one window's curtain. I didn't have any of the other windows in there. And I realized I didn't love the color, which it's called for Gentle Arts Roasted Marshmallow with an R, roasted marshmallow. And I was watching Liz from Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, and she was showing her progress and finish with this. And she had substituted in Classic Colorworks Toasted Marshmallow with a T. And I'm like, no, I want mine to be white like that. So I ordered Toasted Marshmallow, and I feel like it took forever and a day to get here. It finally came this week, and I didn't want to tear it apart until I had the toasted marshmallow in my hand. So I ripped out, like I said, I had all this white done. I ripped out all that white, and then I ripped out the curtain portion, and I restitched those. And I picked this up yesterday and did that. So yesterday I ripped everything out and restitched the white, and then I kept going. And now I am really especially in love with this project. So I think I'm going to spend quite a bit of time working on it right now. I'm just really enjoying it. I personally enjoy big blocks of color and mindless sort of stitching, especially if I can watch some good movies or shows or something that I want to pay a little more attention to. I don't know if you find that when you're stitching. I have a hard time really paying attention to both my stitching and whatever I'm watching. And so if I really need to pay attention to what I'm watching to be able to follow it and enjoy it, I can't be stitching on something that I've got to do a lot of counting for and a lot of color changes and all of that. So anyway, this is my sort of calming, peaceful sort of stitching. And I'll just see how long I feel like working on it, because maybe I will get bored and feel like, oh no, I want to move on to something else. Or I'll see someone else working on something that I have going and I want to get it back out. That's what usually happens for me. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this is coming along. Well, it's just a little setback, but that's okay. And I don't know if you remember, on my last floss tube, I showed Brenda Gervais word plays, January in particular, and there's a snowman in there. And I had stitched him with the called for, decided I didn't like it, and I tore him all out and restitched him. So January wordplay, ripped it out, restitched quite a bit. Then my You Are My Love story, I had stitched our complete names in and did not like the color, tore it out and restitched it. And now Winter Rose Manor, I had stitched a fairly large amount. I mean, it didn't take only a couple seconds to tear all that out. It took a while and to restitch it. And now the frog may leave my house. So I apologize to anyone who ends up with the frog at their house, but he is getting booted from mine. And I'm in Michigan and it's really cold right now, which I think it's really cold in most of the country, to be honest, but we're part of that Arctic freeze or whatever they're calling it. And I don't think the frog's going to enjoy being outside. He's going to be looking for a home. So I'm sorry if you end up with him. Do your best to kick him out on down the road too, okay? That being said, it was worth the time it took me to frog this out and restitch it, because I am so much happier with, you know, the color of this. And I forgot, I have roasted marshmallow here, so I could show you the difference, and toasted marshmallow. And in the video, this is really showing up very yellow. And that was one of the discussions Leanne and I had, because I'm stitching this with Leanne. One of the discussions her and I had was, she said, I don't want yellow snow. Well, that is definitely looking yellow this time. So I believe she also got toasted marshmallow and is using that in her Winter Rose Manor. So I'm going to say thank you again, Liz, for sharing your substitution with all of us, and for me finally realizing that you were saying a different color name than roasted marshmallow. All right, let's see what's next on my list. Okay, so last time I'm pretty sure I was showing you my whip of Raise a Glass of Cheer. I'm showing you my whip and talking about my whip, and I'm like, oh, and by the way, I have a Q-snap trick, a Q-snap trick that I want to share with you, but I'm going to finish with my whips and then I'll come back to it. And what did I do? I never came back to it. So I had several of you say in the comments, did I miss the Q-snap trick? No, you didn't miss it. I missed it. So I want to bring it back out and talk to you about it. I think I showed it a little bit before, but I want to explain it a little bit more. And I want to be clear, this was not my own created idea or strategy or work or whatever. I know I've seen it at least a couple of times. And usually though, when I've seen the trick, it's for framing, like your piece of linen or Aida, whatever you happen to be stitching on, is maybe doesn't have quite enough borders to work to be framed, you know, whether you lace it or glue it or pin it or whatever. So anyway, like I said before, this is 40 count Brea from Needle and Flax. And I love, love, love this fabric. And when I was picking out my fabric for this particular chart, I knew this fabric was perfect with the colors, and it was the count I wanted and everything. Well, this piece here, this is all I had left. And oh, I don't want to lose my needle. I see it falling here. Just a second. And for some reason, it's not staying on the needle minder. So just one moment, please, while I put it in my fabric so that I know I won't lose it. Okay. Here we go. So you can see here and down here, and yep, I was just double checking on the pictures on the chart. So I'm pretty sure this is the bottom edge of the design. And so you can see how small amount of space. And this looks like I have a little bit more up there, but I think there's a few of those eyelet stitches that go up here, and so it'll make it a little higher. Now, when I sewed these muslin strips on, I did like a 1/2 inch of seam allowance. So I do have another 1/2 inch of linen on either side, and I may have to pull this apart a little bit when I get ready to frame it because I used such a large seam allowance. That's fine, I can do that. So anyway, the trick. So I had this beautiful piece of linen that was the perfect color and was big enough to stitch on, but would not be able to be held in a Q-snap and be able to stitch on it. So that's when I thought to add these muslin strips and sew them on. Then you can see here, up here where I didn't take it apart. See, my clamp is over, it's clipped onto the muslin part. Now, widthwise or lengthwise here, you can see I've got some linen rolled up. I'm pretty sure it's plenty long enough, but it was just not quite tall enough. So that's what I did. And like I said, so if this is enough to fill my frame, because I picked out a frame that I have for this, I haven't looked to see if that will not show where I stitched on the muslin. I will just rip this out and I will make a smaller seam allowance so that I can frame it. Okay? So like I said, not my own creative idea exactly, but I don't know if I've seen other people doing this in order to put their project in a Q-snap. Maybe they have and I just haven't seen it. I'm not trying to be like the greatest idea ever person, or I didn't come up with that all on my own. That's what I want to say. So anyway, that is my Q-snap trick. I hope that will help anybody that could use it, especially if you have a smaller piece. Or, I mean, the other thing you could do with this is, let's say your piece of linen maybe is big enough for your stitch itself, like you're stitching an ornament or something, but your Q-snap doesn't work, it doesn't have enough space for you to do the stitching, right? You could sew some muslin on there and put it in a bigger Q-snap and have plenty of space for stitching, right? I'm like, when I thought of this, I felt like, oh, wow, it's opening up all these ideas that I can now do and not feel so restricted to the size of my linen. And maybe I can use a little less linen and be able to have it more for the stitching parts, right? There's one other thing I wanted to say. What was it? Oh, the other thing is, and I know there's lots of people that excuse me, that do this. And so this is definitely not my idea. But I used to wrap it, so this was the top of my stitch. Okay, so I wrapped it over the Q-snap and then put the clamps on. Well, now I lay the Q-snap down on my piece of fabric and pull the sides of the fabric up and over and clamp it. Did I explain that okay? When I would clamp it the other way, sometimes I got marks from the clamps on my linen, like these long straight kind of marks, kind of like it smushed the linen. And no matter how much I ironed it, I couldn't get it to fully come out of there. And honestly, probably once I fully finished something, no one would ever notice it, but it bugged me because, I mean, you're putting a lot of work into this and stuff, and I didn't want to ruin it. So when I started wrapping it around this way, now if it does make a mark, it's on the back of the linen and I don't care. So I think that's a helpful hint too. It took me a little while to get used to having it wrapped this way though, rather than over the top and clamped on, with the clamps on the right side of the linen in my project. Now that's another benefit of these muslin strips. If you have that and that's what's in your clamp, you don't care because no one's ever going to see the muslin if it were to make a mark, but muslin's thin enough it doesn't really make a mark. So anyway, that concludes our Q-Snap lecture series for today. No, but seriously, I hope that helps somebody out there. And actually, that kind of leads into the next part that I want to add to this. So I've had several people ask me about the neatness of my stitches. Like, how do I do this? How do I make my stitches so neat? And number one, I think I've talked about this before, but my stitches I need them to be really neat and tidy. Like, that's really important to me. And if it takes me longer to complete something, I'm okay with that because my finished product is neater and tidier and to me looks better. In other people, it's all about how fast they can stitch, and if they have a couple of stitches that aren't as neat and tidy as others, it doesn't bother them. And that's cool too. I can't do that. That's just not my way. And gosh, I wish I could, because I could probably stitch a whole lot more than I do. But I'm learning to accept what I am and what my limitations are, if that's a good way to say this. Is this a limitation? I'm not sure. But anyway, that's really important to me and always has been ever since I've stitched. It's always been important to me, but I would often get frustrated with certain stitches or certain placement of stitches, and they wouldn't look, I just couldn't make them look as neat and tidy as I would like them to. And a few months ago on YouTube, and I think it came up in my sort of like suggested list or your homepage or whatever it's called. And it was the Nerdy Needle, and I'm going to link her below. Her name is Laura, and she has Flosstube, and it's her Flosstube number 2. And let me give you a little more. Okay. So I found this. Laura is a high school science teacher. So when she explains things to you, it is so my jam. Like, it's exactly what I need. She had diagrams. She walked through it slowly. She didn't just tell us how to make neat and tidy stitches. She explained why it worked. And it was like all these light bulbs went off for me. And I had to make a couple of subtle adjustments, and it was just sort of the way my thread wrapped on the back of my piece. That's what I'll say. So anyway, I will link her Flosstube number 2 below so that you can go see it for yourself. And it will be a game changer. I promise that your stitches are going to change. Now, are you going to be faster with that? Probably not. But if that's not the important piece for you, then definitely check it out and see how she explains it. I could never explain it as good as she did. And man, I know I sent her a message or commented to her. It was quite a while ago, but just told her, your video was a game changer for me. It was. And I've been just so happy with it. I think that I'm nervous that I am forgetting to tell you something that I wanted to say, because last time I said I was going to show you a Q-snap trick and then completely forgot to show you the Q-snap trick. But I have showed that now. And I've talked to you about the neat and tidy stitches. So, like I said, you need to check out the Nerdy Needle. Laura is her name, and I will link her below. And okay, I'm pretty sure I covered it, but hey, let me know if you have a question. As I always say, let me know, and I will do my best to answer it if I can. So, all right, so let's talk about collection editions. As if you've been following along a little bit, you know that I am working on a spending freeze for at least the first 90 days of 2022. And I have a ton of kits ready to go and tons of whips. So I don't really need anything currently. The exceptions to the spending freeze are clubs that I'm enrolled in. So you know that those get charged each month if they get sent out monthly. And anything that I had that was on a pre-order basis, because clubs are hard to get back into sometimes. And so I didn't want to cut those off completely. And pre-orders, well, they're pre-orders and I planned on buying them a while ago. And I have one of those today to show you. And it was really important to still get that. Or for me anyway. So I'm really proud of myself. I've been sticking with it. So no spending. But I wanted to show you the couple things that I did get. So the first one is from Crazy Annie's Stitching. And I'm sorry, this is in a package, so it's gonna be, and it's crinkly. Crazy Annie's Stitching and ladydotcreates has a monthly club of finishing items, and it will be a colorway each time. And I didn't know this, but there's a few charms in here. So in here is a piece of linen, like for finishing, like a fabric, not a cross stitch linen. And it says the color is crystals. So like I said, piece of linen in there, 3 or 4 charms, and like this one here, can you see that? Oh, there you can. The scissors and this snowflake are really cool. And then there's some chenille trim in here, I'm not sure what to call this. It's called something. That really sort of fine ribbon, but it's like hem tape or something, I don't know. And another sort of lacy, zhuzhy type trim, and chenille I already said, and some rickrack. And so that'll be fun for something that works with these colors, which these are really great for winter things, right? I mean, it's called crystals, come on. All right, so that was that club. And excuse me as I just kind of toss it down here out of the way. My pre-order that came, it's the Fat Quarter Shop Heartfelt. This is the quilt along. I plan on doing the stitch along also, but this is the quilt kit. And I'm not sure if those should be seen on camera or not, but so it comes in this cool box, and there's all the fabrics. And then I also got, I'm not doing a very good job of showing this, but you can go look at it online and see much better pictures if you're interested. This is the backing kit also. So I got the whole thing. And I was really excited about this when I first saw it because all the hearts on the quilt, I like hearts and things. I think it's fun. and it's just kind of my style. I don't know. And I thought the fabric looked really nice. When I got it this week, I almost lost my mind because I was so excited. I loved it way more than I thought I was going to. I feel like the colors in this fabric line, it was like they reached in my brain and pulled out what I would love. So there's a lot of neutrals and a various amount of neutrals, and it's sort of a taupey gray, dark color in there. And I know I've talked about how I love to mix neutrals, and that's generally what we have in our house. My favorite color is green. I know I've talked about that, and there's green in here. And then it's like pinky reds. Some pinky reds, we'll call it that. And I love it. I love it so much. So I need to make a project bag out of these fabrics. And like I said, I almost lost my mind. I was so excited. I just loved it so much. So that is it for the normal collection spiel. Now, I said I would give you my sort of life update story time here later in the video. Well, it's time for that now. And I already kind of mentioned it when I showed you You Are My Love Story, my finish for the week. And I said that Jeff and I had our wedding anniversary this past weekend. Well, to be honest, normally our anniversary, before COVID, we probably would go out to dinner. Since COVID, maybe we've gotten takeout. I don't even know. I can't remember. All this to say, generally we don't make a huge big deal out of our anniversary. I mean, we acknowledge it and stuff, but we don't generally do a lot. And I'm going to say that's just, we have kids, and it's like, okay, we've built this family. And we, like I said, we acknowledge it, but it's not usually over the top necessarily. Well, you can see behind me right there, that's part of what he did. What he did was awesome this year. So first thing was a box was delivered from Sherry's Berries. So I don't know if you're familiar with this. Those are chocolate covered strawberries. And then also in the box, he had these 24 red roses, which by the way, were our wedding flowers, which is very traditional, but that's what I wanted when we got married. I wanted very sort of simple and traditional. And that's why he would choose red roses in particular. And anyway, then the chocolate covered strawberries. Our first date, he took me to a Michigan State football game, and he packed up a whole little tailgate, kind of a fancy sort of tailgate for us to have before the game. And one of the things he had made were chocolate covered strawberries. And the joke is that I think I only ate one. And so he's always like, well, I don't know if you really liked those. And I always wondered about that. Well, to be honest, I was so nervous and excited on our first date that I ate hardly anything. So it wouldn't have mattered what it was or how it looked or whatever it was, And so now that I know the story, and I feel bad sometimes that I didn't eat some more chocolate covered strawberries because he was trying really hard to impress me. So it's sort of it's a memory thing, but it's also sort of a, kind of a running joke kind of thing. So anyway, that's why he got those. So then he also, he ran out and did some quick errands and got me breakfast. And, excuse me, when he came back, he also had a Starbucks for me, which I don't splurge on very often, like almost never. And so just that he just did that was, so really, really, really nice, right? And then he also gave me a card. And so here's, the front of it. And when I opened the card, so I open it up and out falls a couple of things. One of them was his credit card was inside this card. And anyway, inside here are 2 sticky notes in addition to the notes he wrote to me, the love notes. And here's what one of them says: free spending day. And then he wrote a $sign with 2,200 with no decimal points in there or commas or anything. So it just says $2,200. And then it says, please use this card, his credit card, to purchase anything I want, and I can decide where to place the decimal. Isn't he cool? You'll be happy to know that I did not place the decimal at the end of these 4 digits. But, excuse me. And then the second sticky note, though, does say, to start, here are 2 items I would like to see you purchase and stitch. So I'll show these to you here really quick in a second, but he had tried to track these down himself and to order them and get them here to give them to me as a gift. And for whatever reason, whoever he called, didn't answer or didn't get back to him. And then he found it online, but he wasn't sure if he should order from wherever he found it because he didn't think I had ordered from that particular location before or whatever it was. I mean, he tried really hard. So anyway, and these are just black and white prints from the printer. And so you're probably not going to be able to see very well, but just that he took the time to print these off and put them in the card is so cool. So this one is One Starry Christmas Eve from Brenda Gervais. And this is actually stitched on red fabric, red linen. And so he was trying to get the chart and the linen for this one for me. And the other one that he wanted me to get was also Brenda Gervais, her Love Notes booklet. So, and the other condition of this card, and it's a gift. So he said it doesn't count towards your spending freeze because it's a gift. I would buy you a gift anyway, so it doesn't count because you're using my credit card. Which, of course, our credit cards are one account, but still, that he put his credit card in the card. How cool is this? So I have ordered both of these and the red linen for One Starry Christmas Eve. And then I don't even remember. I ordered a few other charts, I think. And honestly, I think I needed some floss for my Brenda Gervais wordplay monthly charts, a color that I didn't realize that was going to be used a lot. And so I picked that up. I had just written that down and was going to get it when the spending freeze was over. But yeah, it was almost hard to shop because I'd been doing so good. And I was wondering if I was breaking my spending freeze, but he kept telling me I wasn't. So anyway, bought a few things, and had fun with it, and I don't know, it just still makes me giddy. And he tells me there's something else still coming that for whatever reason was delayed. I don't know, because I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's cross stitching related, but I guess we'll find out when it comes. So that's my life update, storytelling time, and collection all in one. That wraps it up. I want to move on to my 2022 subscribers in 2022 celebration. Yay! Yeah, so I have exceeded 2022 subscribers. So thank you if you have subscribed, and thank you for joining me on this journey. I'm still giddy from Jeff's card. But seriously, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm meeting so many fun people and kind people, and it's just been really fun. So I like that I can sit and talk about these things that most people in my life, their eyes just kind of glaze over. I know you've all experienced it. Were all of you out there, you're like, yes, I want to hear more. What's the Q-snap trick? So thank you. Thank you for subscribing and for coming on along. And let's see. Okay. So to celebrate that and to say thank you even more, I have some giveaways, and I think they're pretty fun. So if you would like to enter for the giveaways, please don't use the word giveaway or free or anything like that, so that we make sure that it's the stitching community that gets to enjoy this fun. Please like my video. Please subscribe to my channel. And please be over 18 so that I can ask you for your address so that I can send this to you. Let's see, did I cover all the details of doing a giveaway? I think so. Oh, okay, so, and then each thing I'm gonna show you will have a corresponding number. Corresponding number, and you'll understand that in just a second. You need to use the digits. So if I say the number 7, use the number 7, don't spell it out. That's how I will use the random comment generator to do a search and to do the draw for each item, okay? And the other thing I would like you to share with me, so the numbers, just put those at the end of your comment, or just make that your comment, that's fine too. But what I would love to have you share with me in the comments when you put the numbers in for which, oh, that was the other thing I wanted to say. So you can enter for as many or as few of these as you'd like. List them all, that's fine too. But I will only award 1 to each person. Does that make sense? I know it does, because that's how everyone does it, right? So the other thing I'd like you to share with me in the comments below is I would like you to share with me your best stitchy kindness story. So something you've received maybe, or a conversation, or whatever it might be. I would love to just hear about kindness. And I think it would be fun for everyone to have that chance, they can read through the comments below. So share your best stitchy kindness story. And now let's see what the giveaways are. So I was one of the people that was able to get a Kitten Stitcher advent calendar. And I loved many things in that advent calendar. Advent calendar. Spit it out, Michelle. But there were several charts. I know reasonably I'm not ever going to stitch them. I love them. I can appreciate them, but for whatever reason, they're not something I'm going to stitch. But I know there are lots of you out there that would love to stitch them. So that's what I'm giving away, are the charts that I know I won't stitch. And I hope then someone else could enjoy them even more. Now, what I understand about the Kitten Stitcher Advent Calendar, none of these charts are available yet for purchase. However, I can't remember, was it 6 months or a year? I think it was 6 months that Teresa had agreed with the designers that they then could release these charts to be sold. Do I say the general public? I don't know, public release? I don't know the right words, but you understand what I'm saying. So I think you're gonna be able to get these later on at some point, but for right now, you can try to get them from me. So the first one, you are going to put 3, the number 3 in your comment below if you would like this one. And this was from day 3. So that's what the numbers are going to correspond. They go with what day the particular chart was from. So this is number 3. And it is from the Bee Company, and it's called the Noel Tag. And this one is actually a little kit. So you get the little wood backer. Let's see, I wanted to tell you what was in here. Oh, the kit includes the chart, explanations, a painted wood tag, lace, buttons, linen. Oh no, sorry, lace and buttons. Linen is not included, and neither is the thread. So it's the chart and all the extra. You need to supply the linen and the threads for it. So that is number 3. Number 3, the Bee Company Noel Tag. Okay, and I apologize for the rattling, but I thought it would be fun to keep these in the bags too for you. Okay, next up is number 6. So you'll need to put the number 6 in your comment below. And this one is from the Scarlet Letter. Try that again. The Scarlet Letter, A Token of Friendship. And try not to get too much glare on there so you can see it. Okay. So number 6. Yes. Number 6, the Scarlet Letter, A Token of Friendship. There you go. Okay. Next up is number 7. And this is the Blue Flower Winter Quail. Sorry for the glare. I don't want to open everything because I want to send it to you not being open. So the Blue Flower Winter Quail. This is number 7. Okay. Okay. Next up is number 9. Number 9. This is Hands to Work, Share Joy. Oh, here, let me turn it this way. I think that's the way the design is meant to go. Hands to Work, Share Joy. Okay, and that is number 9. Okay, this one is number 11. This is number 11. It is the Primitive Hair Winter Essentials. See if you can see that. The Primitive Hair Winter Essentials. Okay. And that one is number 11. I apologize if you are wearing earpods and my rattling is a little bit much. I'm trying to keep it at a minimum. This one is number 14. And this is from La-Di-Da, and it's called Be Merry All. La-Di-Da, Be Merry All. This is number 14. And the verse says, Be merry all, be merry all. We welcome Merry Christmas. Okay, so La-Di-Da, Be Merry All. And that is number 14. Okay, we're getting close to the end. Number 22. Number 22. This one is from Needlework Press. It is H. Purdy 1822. So just a nice sampler. So yeah, that's number 22. Needlework Press H. Purdy 1822. See that? Pretty good, right? All right. And one more. This one is number 25. And it is Hands Across the Sea, Emily Wildhack, 1874. I think that's how you pronounce it. So Hands Across the Sea, Emily Wildhack. This is number 25. I apologize for all the crinkling and the glare. 25. Hands Across the Sea, Emily Wildhack. All right. So like I said, for any of those that you're interested in, please put the number down below. Don't spell it out, just the number, because that's how I'll search it. And please share your best stitchy kindness story with me. And also then everyone can read through them too. So I think that would be fun. And thank you again for coming on over and checking me out and deciding to come back and continue to share time with me. I appreciate it. That's the other plan, is to get that kit parade filmed and uploaded. So keep a watch for that. If you click on the bell down below, you'll get notifications of when I upload videos, so you would know when it shows up. Oh, and one more detail about the 2022 celebration subscribers giveaway. I plan to announce the winners. Oh my goodness, I can't even think. Announce the winners on my next Flosstube, which will be Flosstube number 15. And in a perfect world, that will be next Friday that will come out. Make sure you share your best stitchy kindness with me. And that will definitely uplift my spirits. And thank you again for sharing time with me. Thank you for coming back. And I will see you soon.